Hello everyone, it's Chalky Chip. Today, we start our grand adventure. Dark Souls Remastered. This is going to be a walkthrough. This is not going to be a 100% walkthrough, but we are going to, try to get every single thing that we can in the game. I'm going to be giving tips and stuff. On how to get through the game, stuff like that. Yeah. I've never done a walkthrough type of video before, but yeah. If you've never played the series, and for whatever reason, maybe you're watching this video trying to beat one of the games for the first time or whatever it may be, I do highly suggest that you beat it for yourself. I know there's not going to be people out there that's wanting to do it. Sometimes you need a little help, push, to get you to beat your first game and to help you get through the series. But, in my opinion, I think you should try to beat the game on your own and not use any help. But with that said, maybe you've already beaten the game and maybe you just want to watch an interesting video, walkthrough, or whatever. Maybe you're wanting to see more stuff that you missed in your playthrough or whatever it may be. Look no further. Alright? So I'm going to be a female. I'm going to go with the Wanderer. Aimless Wanderer wields Scimitar, high dexterity. Now, if you don't know anything about the classes in this game, there's strength, dexterity, intelligence, faith, and, that, in return is your stats. You see the stats in the bottom left there. It says level of vitality. Vitality is how much health you have. Endurance, it's very important as well. It's how much endurance you have, obviously your stamina. Everything you do in this game takes stamina, so your endurance is very important. Strength, dexterity, intelligence, as faith is mainly for weapons and spells. You need to increase that to make your weapons and spells do more damage, and you need certain stats high enough to wield certain weapons. So, with that said, we're gonna have a dexterity build. Our gift is gonna be the Master Key. Average. Our face is going to be this, I suppose. This is going to be our hair. The color is going to be gray. Feel free to customize your character more. Select your own class if you feel. This is what I'm going to go with.
In the age of ancients, the world was unformed, shrouded by fog. A land of grey crags, arch trees, and everlasting dragons. But then there was fire, and with fire came disparity. Heat and cold, life and death, and of course, light and dark. Then from the dark they came and found the souls of lords within the flame. Nito, the first of the dead. The Witch of Izalith and her daughters of Chaos. Gwyn, the Lord of Sunlight, and his faithful knights. And the furtive pygmy, so easily forgotten. With the strength of lords, they challenged the dragons. Gwyn's mighty bolts peeled apart the But soon the flames will fade, and only dark will remain. Even now, there are only embers, and man sees not light, but only endless nights. And amongst the living are seen carriers of the accursed dark side.
Wow. I've not seen that opening cutscene in its entirety in a while. Alright, we're in Pillage Corpse, the key, and we're in. Alright. Now, I will say, first you want to get used to these controls of your, if you're watching this and taking this guide or whatever, get used to the controls. There's a reason I have the controller in the bottom there to show the buttons that I do. So you definitely want to get used to the controls. You walk through here, it's going to tell you some basic controls. RB to attack with an Xbox controller. R1 if you're on PlayStation. Strong attack, RT or R2. Holding the left stick up. In B, you can run. R to target. Or R3 to target. So first thing that I'm going to run you through that I think is really important is rolling in this game. So, rolling is a very big thing in this game. As you see, when I roll, I sort of roll kind of fast. It's pretty snappy. That's because I'm light rolling. And once I get my equipment, I'm going to be doing what is called a medium roll. And that's not very optimal, so what I will probably do when I get to that point is I'm going to take off some layers of my clothes, that way I can roll fast. Now, you don't have to copy everything that I do. This is mainly just some tips and tricks and, follow a general idea of where you should go, what you should do. You don't have to copy my, playthrough to a complete T, and I don't think you should. Okay, here we just got the scimitar. And we destroyed that hollow. As you can see, I'm still actually fast rolling, so that's good. So yeah, you pick up your shield, your sword, or depending on what you chose in your, your starting class. You might get different things. RT over here, no, LT, I believe. Or L2. This is parrying. And you can parry enemies' attacks, and then you can click RB or R1 to, get a little visceral type of attack on them. Alright? Heavy attack, light attack, and you can also hold LB up to just have your shield up. There's going to be a ball here, rolled in. This is our man.
Oh. You, regrettably.
Say yes to him, he'll give you your Estus and a key. Estus is how you heal, obviously. And, yeah. Very important, obviously. Take care of that hollow. Now, like I said, this is the very first time I'm doing a walkthrough, so if I go a little too fast or, not explaining everything like I should be in, complete detail, then please let me know. I want to try to make this as best to follow, as easy to follow as possible for newcomers. another thing that you see, I am two-handing my weapon. So you do a little bit more damage when you're two-handing your weapon, but of course, you can't use your shield. I can still block with my sword, but I will take damage because of that. Because if you see here, you go to your shield, you can toggle display. It has a 85% damage reduction. So, it's not 100%. Well, that was 100%. I guess it just kind of depends on attacks. But yeah. And another thing that I didn't even explain was, yeah, that big ol' Asylum Demon, huh? I kind of brazed over that. Oh, we're also online. Which we should probably go offline, but I think we're fine. We're going to walk in here. Target, we're going to hold up in the heavy attack. And then we're going to plunge the demon. And what I wholeheartedly insist on doing for this fight is to untarget him. Dark Souls 1 is very weird when it comes to its targeting and, mechanics of that note. Targeting in this game, you're unable to run left and right, and it just makes it harder, in my opinion, to actually fight, because you're not able to run. So, when you're doing boss fights especially, I really think it's in your best interest to not actually target the boss. Just like what I'm doing. Obviously, you're going to want to learn how to dodge at the best moment, and that also comes in with your roll. I'm not medium rolling. I didn't get to show you that because I don't have the appropriate load for it. But medium rolling actually doesn't give you as much iframes as you do when I'm fast rolling right here. Which is why I prefer to go with the medium roll. He swings, I roll, I get more iframes, and if you don't know what that means, invincibility frames. It means I have more of a chance of not getting attacked or hit, damaged from his attack because of my iframes. Well, I got hit there, but as to medium rolling, I wouldn't have as many iframes. So yeah, hopefully I explained that a little bit. We're gonna take him out. And I wholeheartedly believe that you can take him out as well. I have faith in everyone watching this. But yeah, as I said, we're going to go for a dex build. If you want to follow my complete build, everything that I do, feel free, but I will be given little pointers for weapons and stuff along the way. We'll be trying to pick up everything that we, come across. I'm just not going to go out of my way to get everything, if that makes any sense. I'm also going to skip all the cutscenes. I've seen them enough. I did want to look at that opening, because that opening is beautiful. But now we're here at Firelink. This is your main hub. This is where you're going to be coming back the most. So what we can do is we can look around, get a couple of items. Like those humanities there. Humanities, once you eat them, a number in the top left will, start to go up. It goes all the way to 99. Humanities you can eat and heal off of it. Instead of, if you run out of Estus, they'll heal you. Greatly restores HP, and you gain a humanity. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. It doesn't really serve us any good to use them. And here we got our first NPC. Well, technically our second. You can join his covenant, and then he will sell you some spells and some talisman, but those are really for faith users, so I don't really need to bother with it. Up here there's a lost soul, and it's also important to say that this is Dark Souls. Souls are your currency. Use souls to level up, and use souls to buy things from other merchants and such. So we're going to drop down here. We've got the Homeward Bone, Morning Star, a talisman, and a Cracked Red Eye. Cracked Red Eye are for invading worlds in multiplayer, so I don't really need it. We're going to go to change equipment here. And I'm going to hotbar Homeward Bones. Homeward Bones you can select, and you can return to the last bonfire that you rested at. So those are very helpful. Very handful. Got a Lloyd's Talisman there. I'm going to drop down here. There's going to be some skeletons, but don't worry. We're going to come up here. And we're just going to run away. We're going to go back to the bonfire and rest at it. And de-aggro those skeletons. Resting at bonfires will reset every single enemy position. This Phantom is here because I'm online. So, if you play online or offline, you know, that's up to you. First things first, this is going to be the first area that we're going to go to. I'm going to take care of these enemies. Try to bait them out one at a time. We're two-handing our scimitar. If you want, though, you can, use your shield to block. As you see there, I lost a little bit of health because this shield blocks 85%, not 100%, which is what I was sort of hinting at earlier. That is how you parry in visceral attack, or critical attack, whatever you want to call it. Right when the enemy is about to swing at you with a weapon, you parry them. Then you can, get a little bonus attack. Parrying is probably the easiest in Dark Souls 1, more so than the other games. And once you get, decent at it, then it really never leaves you. The timing is usually always there. The timing in this game is instantaneous, and it's much easier to do in this game, in my opinion. Holding up and then clicking L3 or L, depending on what controller, you can jump. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over here, and then carefully maneuver over here to get at your ring. This ring is the Ring of Sacrifice. Now what this does is, if we have it equipped, when we die, we won't lose any souls. Because, another thing that was important to say, if you die in this game, you will lose your souls, and wherever you die, your souls will be dropped there. But you have a chance to go get those souls. But if you die on the way to get them, before you actually get them back, you will lose those souls forever. So having this ring equipped, it will destroy the ring if you die, but you won't lose your souls. So that's very useful. And it also works if you already lost your souls and you're trying to retrieve them, you can put your ring on. And if you die with the ring on while your souls have already been dropped, your souls won't actually disappear and you still will have a chance to get them. So you can use it either or in either scenario. And what we did right there was a backstab. Simply get behind an enemy, hold up or whatever direction, and light attack, and then you will backstab. And right there we got the battle axe. Does a little bit more damage, but we actually don't have the stats to wield it. So if we go here, we toggle, we need 12 strength to wield it, and our strength is only at 10. But we can use two hands to wield it. It does a little bit more damage. But we have this equipped, and we are medium rolling. So this roll is just not as snappy as the fast roll. So I would either equip a different weapon, which I'm going to choose to do, or take off some layers of clothes or a shield. Which, speaking of, I think I'm going to take my shield because you can parry with your bare hand. You don't need to use a shield. And I'm going to use the scimitar because this is my starting weapon. And I don't really want to use weapons that have a chance of dropping. Just in case you guys are following my exact guide, I want to use weapons that you guys have access to. Because it's not fair if I get really lucky and get an OP weapon dropped that you guys, are not going to have. Or might not have. So there we did a running attack. Pretty simple. Run and then light attack. And even though I don't think you should target for bosses, it is fine to target some of these enemies when they're by themselves and quickly attack them. Here we go. This is our first bonfire. Rest at this bonfire, all enemies will reset. But that's fine. So right now, we're actually going to eat these souls. And you can consume these souls, and they'll give you souls, and you use souls to level up. As I said before. So we're actually going to do that. You level up at bonfires, which I didn't do at Firelink, which is fine. So, vitality, endurance, strength, and dexterity. For our playthrough, we're going to be worried more about vitality, endurance, and dex, and maybe a little bit strength, just depending on if we get a weapon that we need a little bit more strength to wield it. Vitality is your health, of course. I will go 2 in health, 2 in endurance, actually 3 in endurance. So there we go. Now we're down to 687 souls. And if you go to my scimitar, or any weapon, it has a little B next to the hand icon, which is scaling. So it scales a B in dexterity. So that means the more I level up dexterity, it'll do more damage the more I level up dexterity. Is all that means. Alright, we're gonna ignore that, guys. So, that's another thing. If you tap up and then light attack, you can kick. And depending on what weapon you have, you can do a special weird move like that. That's what I did there. So I'm going to try to bait this guy out so I can parry him, and then miss the parry. And then almost die, but not die. Damn. There we go. Parrying really doesn't go away, but, you know, you will be worse at parrying depending on what enemy, you know, you're trying to parry. So, that's all that means. And of course, it's important to know, since we rested at that bonfire, it did reset the enemies, but if we did die, we would start at that bonfire. You come down here, we're going to have an undead merchant. He will sell all this assortment of items. A residence key, bottomless box, even some weapons. There's the scimitar that we have, hand axe, bow, buckler, some shields, some arrows, and even some chainmail. We really don't need any of that. And this merchant is probably one of the least important merchants in the game, so we can kill him, which is what I'm going to do. And he will give us a couple of things. He will give us the residence key, which will open a door in just a minute, and he'll give us the Uchi Katana. Now, the Uchi Katana is a dexterity weapon, so I'm going to use it. And he also gave us the residence key and humanity are the main things. So if we go to the Uchi Katana, as you see there, 80 compared to 90 is its physical damage. So this does 10 more physical damage. And then to the right of that is magic damage, fire damage, lightning damage, and the... I'm actually not sure what that last one is, but it's not important. As you can see, I need 14 strength to properly wield it, but I can two-hand it still. So, I'm going to use the Uchi Katana, not only because, you know, the 10 extra physical damage, but it also has 300 bleed effect in the bottom left if you see it. In the where it says Aux effect, it says 300. Right next to that is bleed. And right next to that is poison, but this doesn't have poison. This has 300 bleed. So what that means is, you know, enemies that are sustainable to bleed damage, a bleed buildup will happen when I attack them, and then eventually they'll take a huge proxy of bleed damage. And as you can see, this Uchi Katana weighs 5 pounds, while my scimitar weighed 1.5. So I am now medium roll. So I am going to take off my hood, and now I can roll lightly. I can light roll now. We're going to go this way. There are going to be hollows. You can bait them out one at a time. For this playthrough, I think I'm going to use katanas. I've used katanas in every single every single Souls game, except for Dark Souls 1, actually. And I might have beaten Dark Souls 1 the most amount of times out of them. It'd either be this one or the third one. But anyways, that's neither here nor there. We're going to use katanas this playthrough. We're not going to use any weapons that have a pretty high chance or a low chance of getting dropped from enemies. We're going to run and jump over here. This is just where we're at from earlier, where we took that fog door. Come up this way. We have a light crossbow and some standard bolts. Drop down here and look where we're at. We're right back where we started. Little double kill there. Alright. We're gonna bust those barrels, drop down here. We're gonna get another soul. Come up here, there's a hidden little snooky right here. Snook. Or whatever you want to call it. Another soul. And there's nothing up there. Alright. We're gonna get ambushed here. 2 naked hollows, none we can't take care of. This is a trap. That is complete garbage. It's rubbish. Quite literally rubbish. We're going to take these hollows out before they get us. There's 2 more here that they will aggro once you get near. Rubbish. Just like I said. We're going to go up this ladder. And we're going to get this item over here. And it's another humanity. And what's also important to note is your chances will actually increase for rarer drops the more humanity you have in that top left corner. So what I'm going to do is use 6 humanities here, and now it's at 7. So now I have more chance of getting drops from rare drops. Now, if you're like new and and you're watching this guy to get you through, I don't really advise on doing that because, like I said, you can use 1 humanity to fully restore your health, and that helps in between bonfires when you run out of Estus. I'm not too worried about it because I've beaten this game a bunch, but there's always that. Now you could rest at the bonfire and simply take care of these enemies here, but I still have 5 Estus and I'm pretty confident, so we're gonna keep on trucking. There's going to be a couple of enemies here with an axe. That guy's going to bust through. There's guys throwing fire bombs. We're just going to take them out. We're going to maneuver them, roll, backstab. We're going to un-two-hand, go to one-hand to parry him because we can't parry while we only have, the 1. And, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to get down to business. We are actually going to go back, though, because I forgot. We got some souls. I'm going to go ahead and use these souls. And you don't have to use your souls as soon as you get them. You can save them up for when times get desperate. I'm going to use mine, though, and get 2 more levels. Try to, at least. Into strength. Or, no, it's 4 more. So I need 1 more level into strength so I can one-hand my Uchigatana. That way I can, freely parry and use it, because as you just saw, when I went to one-hand it, it had an X on it, and I just wasn't able to. And I'm gonna take my first death here, maybe, because I forgot to kill these guys. We're gonna go back and rest. I forgot to kill these guys. I got a little overzealous. Come and kill these guys. over here. That's cool. And like I said, only time I advise on targeting enemies is if it's just one dude and it's one-on-one. That's the only time I advise it. It's gonna be that guy, he's a little hidden there. In this chest is gonna be 5 black fire bombs. So we'll take that. Up here there's gonna be 3 guys, you can try to aggro them a couple at a time. You could even throw a fire bomb to aggro some of them. However you want to take this on. They'll throw fire bombs at you if you let them. Up there's a soul and a couple of enemies. I'm not going to bother because I don't care. But all it is another small soul. We're going to go up here. There's going to be an archer up here. We're going to take him out because he could cause a little bit of problems. And before we go through there, we're going to try to aggro these guys. These guys have shields. They can be a little tough. Try to aggro them one at a time. And then take them out. They can be a little tough, though. We got pretty lucky there. Now, we opened that door with the residence key, which is why we killed the merchant. You could buy it from him, but he's not that important. And there we got gold resin. Gold pine resin. You can apply lightning damage to your right weapon, in this case our Uchigatana, or in your case the scimitar, or straight sword, or whatever weapon. As long as it's not a special or unique weapon. But we ain't got to worry about that. So, there are some bosses that are obviously weak to lightning, and that's why we got it. Because this upcoming boss is weak to lightning. Which is not this guy. This guy is a Black Knight. And if this is your first time, your first playthrough, first time seeing a Black Knight, kiss your ass and your souls goodbye. Because you're not going to kill this guy. I promise you. The best way to take care of these Black Knights, all of them, are to parry. And, you know, it takes a little bit of time to parry. You could potentially get a backstab on them, and you could potentially circle them to backstab them. But what I'm going to do is parry. And what's over there is a ring, and rings go here, just like the Ring of Sacrifice. But it's really not that important. You don't really have to kill this guy right now. You could come back later. That's not me, though. We're going to parry him with one hand, go back to two-handing, and then riposte him. Go back to one hand to parry. Rinse and repeat. This is the easiest way to kill him. But if you truly are a newcomer, then, you know, you're probably not going to be able to do this. Takes a little bit of time to learn how to parry a knight and to be, you know, consistent. There we got a Titanite chunk. We did have a chance of getting his sword, but I wouldn't have used it because it's pretty OP. And of course, it is a very rare drop. But we did get the blue Tearstone ring, and all this does is boost our defense when our HP is low. Now you could bait him out here and run past him and get the ring. You might die, though, by doing that. But this ring is not, you know, super important. So I'm just going to unequip it because I don't really need it. We're going to bait this barrel out. It's going to go past us if I don't get stuck. Kill this hollow. Simple. Very, very simple. Because we picked the master key, we are actually able to come down there. Or open that door, rather. But we're not going to worry about that until later. That's why we picked the master key. We picked the master key because it gets us to a bunch of places that we couldn't go before. Up here, there's going to be a crystal lizard hidden in the chest, or the box, or whatever. barrel. And he will drop us items, and those items are used for upgrading weapons, which is very important. We're going to go through that fog gate, of course, climbing up this ladder. 2 hollows up here. Oh, fuck off. We're going to get rid of these hollows. And if you hold nothing and just hold B, you can slide down. This is our first real boss, the Taurus Demon. This guy is really not that hard, but if you die, it is annoying as hell to walk all the way back, since our last bonfire was a little bit ago. So he can definitely make and break a lot of new Souls gamers. But what we're going to do is we're going to apply resin about here. When as soon as he jumps down, we're going to climb up there, that ladder, and we're going to jump and, you know, plunge him just like with the Asylum Demon at the start of the game. As soon as you see him, feel free to run back. And we got the Taurus Demon. Now what you could do is plunge him, climb up here and plunge him again. But it's a little riskier to do that. I'm just gonna maneuver him smartly. This guy's weak to lightning damage. And we just got the stagger on his ass. And that is the Taurus Demon. And if you have a weapon with good reach, when you run and do a light attack, you can do a little poke with the Uchi Katana at least. And depending on what weapon, you can get a little bit more reach. So, you know, that's useful information, I would say. And you can bait out his attacks like that and just kind of back up and then relock with them. We're going to come down here. This is our boy Solaire, an awesome NPC. So we're going to interact with him. And we're going to accept. And we're going to accept. And he's going to give us a white soapstone, which is just for co-op. And with that said, that is going to be part 1 of the Dark Souls Remastered walkthrough. Guys, let me know if I can make this walkthrough any better. Please let me know what you guys thought. Hopefully this helped, and, you know, obviously more to come. Let me know what I could have done better with this walkthrough and all that. Hope you guys are enjoying your Dark Souls playthrough. And, you know, have a good morning, evening, night, whatever it may be, and I'll see y'all in the next video. See y'all.